What up? Well, today was a good day. I didn't sell shit today, man. I shouldn't say it was a great day, but that's okay. Like, I like it much better when it's the last day of the month and I'm not so freaking stressed out about it. You know, I put myself in that position, and it's really comfortable because there are times when, like, the last month I got to sell like 5 cars, otherwise I'm not going to be able to make ends meet or whatever. And I was good the last couple of days. You know, I busted it out yesterday. Today, there was activity, but it wasn't as hard of a grind. You know, and I'll look back and be like, man, you should have grinded a little harder. You know, I'm not going to be grateful that I didn't work so hard today, but I was there for somebody today that was struggling, and I got to be a friend, and they appreciated it. And if that's all I did today, if all I did today was be a good ear and, you know, speak a little recovery, and, you know, what they're going through right now is tough, I'm not going to share any of their inventory, and just be a friend, and then them say, you know, I love you, thank you for just letting me vent, and letting me just, you know, go off, and I'm okay with that. I was meant to be there today for just that. So yeah, I got to be there for that. I got to, you know, really just, I had really good conversations with customers today, people in service and this and that. I've got like 11 cars lined up that are going to drop next month. They're all going to drop within 2 weeks. So I'll have the month, I have 11 cars on top of whatever I do on top of that. And, you know, that's going to make the month pretty easy too. And that's just because I've been grinding, you know, building my pipeline. And so I've got all these cars that are for sure deals that are going to drop, and then I'm going to do my thing. And if I could do what I did, like, I didn't have a bunch of cars drop this month, and I did like 23. Imagine if I did 23 plus the 11, you know, but whatever. I mean, yeah, it's a good thing, you know, considering all things considered. That's my work check-in with my diary here. So when I go back and look at me wearing this freaking green shirt, right after a couple of the other videos, especially the one that I tagged, you know, about my higher power, I can look back and be like, well, how did that day end? And it's cool. I have that if I want that. I'm really glad I do this. And then I got to talk to a really good friend / customer who I'm probably going to start, you know, maybe once a month go over and have dinner with him and his wife. And, you know, like they watch my shit. And they, you know, like he was like, bro, he was like, I had no idea. And it's cool because, you know, I don't have any shame in what I'm doing right now. It'd be one thing if I was like doing these videos and like I'm in active addiction, you know, that's different. I'm battling through it, getting through it, going through it, and sharing what I'm going through and putting it out there. And these are people that actually love me. They're not just, I don't just get customers that come in and buy a car and that's it. I build relationships with these people over years. Like, I've known him and his wife since 2013. I've been selling them stuff since then. You know, my water bottle that I have, where's that damn water bottle at? I'm gonna kill me looking for this water bottle that's got my name imprinted. They got that for me for Christmas, and they didn't know this, but I had like a year clean when they did that. They had no idea, you know. And it was just cool to like connect with him, sit down, and we just chatted for a minute. You know, they're good peoples. And you know, somebody asked me yesterday what I do for fun, and my response to that question was, like, when I think about what I do for fun, what do I do for fun? It doesn't sound like anything I do is for fun. I had to really, like, I answered that first. It was like a knee-jerk reaction. I said, fun, drugs, and I don't do those anymore. So here's what I do. I'm constantly working, constantly grinding, constantly going, like, I go to the gym, I do my meetings, I do my recovery. I'm talking to people all the time about this shit, doing these. Like, when I think about fun, like, I don't even watch TV anymore. I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched the whole show. Man, that's all I used to do is watch TV. I watch the game, and then I watch this season of whatever. I binge watch a season of some. The idea of binge watching a show right now sounds like I could be doing so many other things. I can't imagine binge watching a show right now and missing out on, like, meetings, step work, and freaking the gym. Let alone what I got to do for my kids. I can't imagine giving up any of that, like 1 hour of my time. And I know that sounds shitty. And I'm not knocking anybody who does that. Well, I can't wait to get to a point where I can be like, man, I'm on episode fucking 11. I can't wait to get back to that. Maybe. But right now, this all seems fucking fun, even though it's a grind. Overcoming adversity sounds like a lot of fun to me right now. I had fun maybe a month ago, a month and a half ago. That was fun. Talking to somebody on a regular, feeling really good. Feeling good about myself, trying to pump them up. Having that intimacy with somebody, that was fun. But then I thought about it. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like that would be fun. Just a one-on-one, eye contact, no lies, no bullshit, just good conversation. Talk about how we eat Oreos or like anything, or past, all that. I'll have that, but in due time. I'm not going to force it anymore. Yeah, that was like the first person I'd ever communicated with that I can sit here and say that I told not one lie. I didn't even say I was okay if they asked me how I was doing. Not one lie. So I know I have that in me in the future. I think that's what appealed to me so much about it. I was just 100. 100. I didn't worry about, like, their feelings because I didn't have to. I didn't feel like I had to. They comforted that. At least I thought they did. And it doesn't matter if they did or if they didn't. In my mind, my perception, because everything is perception. I heard this from a guy a long time ago. He said perception is everything. What you perceive the world to be, that is your world. He taught me how to do this job. And he said, so, like, you have to get into people's perceptions. If they believe the sky is green, if you sit there and try to convince them that it's fucking blue, and they believe it's to be green, until you get into their green sky, you're never going to get into their heart. And I'm not saying lie, but you got to be like, okay, I understand that you see the sky is green. Tell me why. If they're just like, well, that's what color I see. Great. How long have, like, ask questions, like, in the heart of somebody. I love doing that. When I stopped trying to fucking sell and I started trying to love and care, my numbers went up. When I stopped giving a fuck too much about that shit and really I came from a place of darkness, my numbers went up. People can tell when you're fucking real. And for the people that are like, I couldn't tell that this motherfucker was real and he wasn't, maybe he was. Maybe you gotta look within yourself and see if maybe you just came across somebody who is like that. You're not used to it. That's me. Today I am as real as I've ever been. I don't lie to anybody. I don't even tell people I'm okay when I'm not. I tell people that I'm better or I'm worse. And if they don't want to talk about it, I don't expect anybody to engage with me and have a conversation with me about when I say I'm working through something. Okay. Because I'm not asking for their opinion on it. I'm just working through something. If I'm asking for somebody's opinion on it, then I will ask him about it. I want to be that true, and that's how I am today. I feel comfortable in I'm so comfortable with myself right now. So comfortable. As I overcome things that I didn't think I had to overcome or any of that, and I overcome them. Like today, I didn't have one thought about the last couple of weeks. It felt good. I didn't have any messages come through where it brought me back to like that. Feels really good. Talked to my sponsor for, by text, but I talked to him, and let him know I'm going to support this meeting today. Painful Gains, Olympia, Wednesdays, 7 to 9:30. I know it's attraction rather than promotion, but I can throw a plug to the home group. That's not mine, but it's his. I got my first year tag at Painful Grains, actually, when I got it a couple years ago. There was like 4 people in that meeting. And it wasn't good enough for me, was it? So I flew all the way to Arizona to get a fucking standing ovation. So here we go. So my ego can get so high that I needed to have a lot of people congratulate me for 1 year. So I waited. I got it there because my sponsor gave it to me. There wasn't enough people for me to feel fulfilled. Like my ego wasn't fulfilled enough. And so what I did is I already knew 3 months before that I was getting my 1 year, and there was nothing going to stop me. I knew that I was getting that 1 year. So I reached out to the first treatment center I had went to, where my sister helped me get into. She paid for it, by the way. So there's a plug for Lisa. I love you. Thank you for doing that for me. It started everything, and it means the world to me. You're amazing. Anyways, so I called them. I'm considered an alum, since it's not a college thing. So if you don't know, you don't know. I'm an alum to them, and I'm an alum to Northwest Resources in Chehalis, Shelton. I called them up and said, hey man, I finally got a year clean, and they said congratulations. That was 4 years later, right? Nobody even 3 years later. 3 years later. No, 4 years later, because in 2021 I went. So 4 years later, I'm hitting them up. I want to get my cup because you painted a cup, and if you got a year clean, you came back, you spoke about it, and you got your cup. Well, they didn't keep them damn cups for more than 2 years. I didn't know that. So I had this vision of I'm going to go out there, and I remember being at a meeting there, and there was so many people, and this guy shared them 1 year, and I was like, I want that. So I wanted it. And so I perfectly strategically planned this whole thing so I could go to this place where nobody knew me, and I could just speak my ego, because I'm really good about doing that. Just acting like I'm all fucking that, fucking badass or whatever. And so I, paid for it. And then I went out there and I spoke at that treatment center. And I was so nervous about what I was going to say. So but I knew that I was going to wing it. So on the plane ride up, I wrote my speech. And, it's little bits and pieces of motivational things I heard and all that. I just wanted to sound good, like the shit I listened to on fucking YouTube. And so I went out and I did it, and I did talk to people from my home group and stuff, and told them what I was doing, and I just needed to feed my ego so much. And so I'm more excited about getting my year tag at this meeting than I am actually sharing the message to somebody who's fucking needing to hear it. And I pray that I don't ever act like that in a share again. I haven't so far, so thank God for that. At least I don't think I have. I've been speaking from the heart with my stuff. But anyways, I go to this meeting, and there is nobody in it, just the chairperson. They got all the tags. It's just me, my ex, because I had to have her there too, and this person who was chairing this meeting that was empty the whole hour and 15 minutes. You know, I sat around and I thought, this ain't the right meeting, I gotta leave. And then I thought, wait, hold on, you're in a meeting, you don't leave. So at least I had that sensibility in me. We just sat there and talked, me, my ex, and this girl, for a fucking hour and 15 minutes. I got my tag, you know, within 15 minutes, and then I left that meeting. And the beautiful part about that whole thing is that when I left the meeting, I looked up and said, "You're funny." My higher power was like, you want to do it like this? You want all this? You want all of this? You got a year clean. So here, I'm going to give you, you get your meeting. I'm going to give this to you. That was the only meeting I made that whole trip. I was so bummed. Still, I had the ability to acknowledge that, like, I was being a shithead. But I deserved that meeting. You know, a year, and then, you know, and then, oh, now that I think about it, I'm sitting in my sister's bathroom, and I get that call from somebody that I went to treatment with, and they ask me how I'm doing. And I tell them I'm doing good. I've flown out to Arizona and I'm speaking, and this is before that meeting. And they say, man, I'm struggling. So I try to kick them some, you know, well, have you talked to a sponsor? No, I don't do sponsor. Are you going to make a meeting? No, I'm not going to make a meeting. But you're homeless. You need to get into an Oxford house. No, I don't want to get into Oxford house. Do you need anything? And I said, no, man, I'm good. I never told my sponsor that. Never told anybody in my meetings. I just looked at it as, oh, hey, I tried to help this dude, and it didn't work out. Didn't delete his number. None of that. Didn't try to protect my recovery. That is the same person I called 1 year, 3 months, and 3 weeks later. I didn't even realize the relapse happened then. It wasn't even a relapse. It was like I tucked away his number and just put it to the side. And you know, looking back now, I'm almost grateful I did that. And it's not that like I'm glad I'm glad that I relapsed, but I needed to be really kicked off of this. I needed everything to happen the way it did. All of it. As much as I hate to say it, I needed it all to happen. I wouldn't be who I am right now today, currently, in my head, my life, everything going on the way it is. I wouldn't have gone through all of this. I wouldn't have met certain people. I wouldn't have fell for certain people. I wouldn't have struggled with certain situations if any of that changed. And I'm so grateful it all happened. Like, so grateful. I'm so grateful I worked through this thing that I'm gonna still struggle with as the days come, as the weeks come. I'll have moments probably. Hopefully they're like, the moments are far apart and they get further apart, but I don't forget this person. And that I have this like love in my heart for this person still. Where when I think of them, I smile and I think of the good stuff. And I find gratitude in it because it gave me the ability to know a couple things that I can love like that again. It gave me the ability to know that I can work through anything. That if I feel so heartbroken, I won't get loaded. It gave me the ability to feel like, okay, where's my part? And I deserve to hear that. Like that I'm not super innocent. I shouldn't have had this relationship. But also not to believe, like take in like all of the things that, like I didn't take ownership. And that's the, I didn't take ownership of all the negativity. I didn't say, well, maybe I am. I looked at myself and I said, you have a part in this. Own up to that part. Talk to your sponsor. sure about it enough. Let's go through this together, bro. We went through it. So, yeah, I'm good. And I can look back on all of this now and be really grateful. I feel like the weather looks, and I'm grateful for that. Now I'm gonna make this meeting, and I missed the exit, so I probably should stop talking now. Anyways, I don't know. If you've never seen my videos and you're watching one now, give it a shot, man. It takes a little bit of time. You'll go through some shit. You'll make some mistakes. I'll be able to share that I made some mistakes my first year of recovery, and I had a couple years clean, and I didn't think I'd make these mistakes. But man, working through those mistakes, finding a way to not get loaded through them, and then more importantly, having a positive, like a silver lining through it. The silver lining isn't another individual, is magical. It feels good. So I'm grateful. I always thought the silver lining in this would be that we would connect again. And I realized the silver lining is that I'm connecting with myself. And I can live with that. And I'm good with that. So give it a shot, man. It works. It's the best advice I can give anybody who's like wondering if they should stop getting loaded and try the recovery thing. It's been helping me out tremendously. And so I didn't miss the exit. I thought I did. I even know where I'm going. It's cool. I gotta go. Bye.